Hello folks, this is Mike here for a lovely E3 chat. The first stream didn't go so well because there was a connection issue. But this one hopefully will go even better, so we shall see. Welcome to my live E3 chat. I want to talk about who the winners, the losers of E3 are, and basically what your opinions are on E3. So we'll see how this goes. Let's see, probably we'll be going on for about half an hour, maybe an hour, depending on how people feel. So we'll see how that goes. Now, tell me what your winners of E3 are. What do you think would be, who was the greatest company to ever walk the earth? I felt that this year's E3 was kind of underwhelming. It did what it was supposed to do, which was promote a load of games, which is a good thing, you know, for any gaming company out there, for anybody on the internet. What you want to do is make sure that you let people know what you're planning, what you're going to do, what you're going to release, and how it's going to go. Nintendo released a slew of ideas in terms of titles that they've got. I'm glad that they're planning a Pokemon RPG for the Switch. I do think they're kind of insane for re-releasing two games on the 3DS with Sun and Moon. It's like, why would you release a version of Sun and Moon on the 3DS when you already have that same game on the 3DS? Like, what are the features that are going to make this game better than the previous edition? What is going to make me want to go and buy the newest versions of this game in comparison to the older iterations of this game that I already have? It's not like it's a re-release that was on a previous system or previous gen. It's just there, which is kind of annoying. But at the same time, I get it. I understand it. But it's kind of annoying. So I'm glad they are releasing a Pokemon RPG for the Switch. I really do hope it's not like the GameCube Pokemon DX that they released prior. So we've got that at least. They've got a new Kirby game coming out, which I'm excited for. I love Kirby. I think the new, if you ever haven't tried out the free Kirby games that they've got on the 3DS right now, which is basically they're monetary type games. They're freemium to a point. You have to pay for certain tools and utilities in order to beat bosses. But they are there, and they're really good fun little games. This Kirby game seems to be the same kind of deal, so we've got that. We've got a very weird kind of Yoshi game that's come out. It's kind of a mix between Yoshi's Woolly World, Little Big Planet, and another game that Sony are unanimous for, Tearaway. So they've got that kind of little mixture into it to make a new Yoshi game. And what's that Phil Fish game that was out as well? The one Fez. It has that kind of Fez thing to it as well, because you have kind of different plateaus of stages, and you have a different like kind of camera angle. You can say that Captain Toad kind of utilizes that as well for the Wii U. So we've got that on top. The Sony have got a slew of new titles that have come out. Is it me, or did most of their titles look like The Last of Us? Like, The Evil Within 2 looked amazing, but it looked like a kind of a Last of Us thing. You know, the protagonist looked like Joel. Everyone looks like Joel. Then you got this kind of biker zombie apocalypse kind of hybrid thing going on with that, and that again, the guy kind of looked like Joel. I think Joel's kind of the flavor of the month. Everyone has to look like him now in your post-apocalyptic games. I'm a huge fan of zombie games, so I don't mind the fact that we're going to get new zombie kind of platformer games. You get to live in a day in the life of someone in the apocalypse. I like those, especially if you can make the human element work within those, you know, and make it to the fact that, you know, it's just like, how can I say it? Like, you have an element in those games where the humans are being the bad guys, because as long as you have a system where the humans are good, they're bad, you don't know what the hell's going on, and you're doing whatever the hell that you need to do to survive, I'm all for it. Minecraft has become cross-platform, which is a good thing, especially with the Switch version coming out. You've also got the Switch version of that car football game thing. What the hell is it called? I'm actually looking on Polygon now just to get the idea of what this game is called. Let's have a look. I hate when something's on the tip of your tongue and you don't actually understand what the hell it's called. Okay, we've got Rabbids. We've got the new Rabbids game. Ubisoft announced that. We've got to see a bit more of the playthroughs and stuff. It's a little bit of harmless fun. I don't think I'll probably buy it when it comes out and gets released. I probably will get it pre-owned. We've got two new Monster Hunter games. We've got the rehash of the 3DS version that's going to be on the Switch, and we've also got the other version, which is going to be more cross-platform, which again is a good thing. But I don't know what Sony are doing. Why Sony are not mashing into the cross-platform thing? Because I think the more systems that you have that get to have combined online servers, it makes things a lot more easier, and it also makes things a lot more cheaper because you're maintaining three different servers for a single game. Makes no sense. Imagine if you could play GTA on every console and you could connect with everybody. It would be brilliant. It would make that Xbox Live membership worth it, or the PSN Plus worth it, and it would make that Nintendo membership worth it too. Sorry, I've got a little kitty here. Look. Hello, kitty. This one, he's Sunshine Bubbles. He likes to play. Mario Odyssey, we got to see a lot more on that as well. We got to see the whole Samus returning for the 3D. I believe it's a rehash of Metroid Prime 2 on the 3DS, which again, I don't have an issue with this. I like it. I think it's a good thing in a sense, you know. And we got a hell of a lot of trailers. Mario possesses a man, a frog, a dinosaur in Super Mario Odyssey. You get to see a bit more on the game mechanics on that. We got to look at a bit more Skyrim. I purchased Skyrim on the PlayStation 3. That was it for me. I know everybody bought the rehash on the PlayStation 4, and people were like getting fed up. I've seen on my Facebook feed people like, "Oh my God, Skyrim again! Bethesda's milking the crap out of Skyrim." They may do, but in the end, if they're happy to do that, then they're happy to do that. And if people are going to buy it on the Switch, let them buy it on the Switch. As long as everybody's happy. That's it. Rocket League. There you go. Rocket League is cross-platform, so it's going to be doing on the Switch, and you can play it on the Xbox, and they're both sharing the same server. I think this is a great idea. It's a great concept, rather unique. I don't understand why Sony isn't getting on board with it. I get it. They're kind of coveting their own players. They don't want their own market to kind of melt with the others. But it would work. Imagine like having your Switch and you could play on your Switch servers on Destiny with your PlayStation servers. I'm not saying Destiny's coming to the Switch. That hasn't been announced at all. I'm just saying that would be amazeballs if that happened. I do have an issue right now in terms of the Nintendo Switch games, because any third-party game that you buy on the Switch is actually like probably £20 to £30 more expensive right now than it is on PS4. So at the moment, the PlayStation 4 is paramount for me in terms of games. So like Puyo Puyo Tetris, I'm going to buy that on the PlayStation 4 because that's £20, then buying it on the Switch, which is 35. It's apples to oranges, and I get it. It's more expensive for that Nintendo seal of approval, but Nintendo did say that they weren't going to charge an arm and a leg to do this on cartridges, so it kind of makes things a little bit more shady for them, and it also doesn't make third parties look that enticing if you have the same game that you're buying on the Switch on another console. The only way that I would actually buy a Switch game of a third party title is if I basically bought it. It had like some sort of unique feature that you can only get on the Switch, which is fine, but at the same time, I don't see it, you know, for me. Zelda Breath of the Wild, they were showing the new Amiibo collections. I find Amiibos super sexy. You know me and my Amiibos, like got my Pikachu here. Pikachu! I see Amiibos are super sexy, so I'm probably going to end up buying some of those lovely little Amiibos. I don't know if you guys are going to do that. If you do, awesome to you. So you get more Zelda Breath of the Wild Amiibos coming. They talked about the expansions and the new levels and the new story mode. I'm excited. Don't know how you're excited for it, but I'm excited for this. We got the new Yoshi game, which I basically talked about. It's got that kind of terror kind of theme to it. Looks beautiful, extremely beautiful. And the Pokemon RPG thing. Let me ask you guys, are you kind of happy about the whole Pokemon RPG thing? Do you want to see a Pokemon game on the Switch? Would this be good for you? Or are you kind of like, I'm not sure about this? I like the idea. I think we should have seen Sun and Moon on the Switch, in my opinion. I think this is the whole reason why Nintendo amalgamated all their kind of devs kits together. so that they could actually port games to both the Switch and the 3DS. I don't understand why they're rehashing games on the 3DS. It makes no sense to me. But that's me. I don't know. Maybe you probably have a different take on that. So we looked at the Sony press conference. I'm trying to bring up a little bit more about it because my mind is kind of hazy on that. I've been very unwell, so I do apologize to anyone. Oh, we saw the Spider-Man, like by Insomniac Games. That looks like kind of an Infamous style of gameplay, but I love it. The story looks rather unique. It looks like it's based on the comic books. I don't understand why his costume is different in comparison to the way it's done in the movie and the comic books. There may be a reason. Apparently Polygon spoke with them recently and they said it's different for a reason. They said it was one of the best part of E3 press conference last night, blah, blah, blah. Insomniac Games says it's explained in the game and it has its own purpose. So the reason why the emblem is different is apparently it's clarified in the game. So you've got to purchase a Spider-Man game to actually know why he's doing what he's doing. But it looks great. The story's amazing. The voice acting's great. Oh, that's another thing. With the Nintendo games, did you notice the voice acting was shit on most of them? Like, what was it? I'm trying to think what game would be. The Xenoblade Chronicles 2. What is up with that English accent? I don't know why he's doing an English accent that sounds like a parody. I am your hero. Really, I look like I've just walked out of a pub and I'm going around doing a Cockney accent for some reason. And it's weird. You should be asleep. But it's a weird thing. It's... I don't know why someone would do that. If you ever... I've actually done that character myself, and I swear I didn't voice this character. But he talks like this most of the time. I'm going to save you. That's not a hero. That's not a hero in a game. You don't want someone who goes, I'm going to save you. Look at how big my sword is. It's like bad power. What was the saying? Megatron says it in the Transformers movie. He goes, Starscream, it's just bad comedy. It is. It's literally bad comedy. I don't know what the voice thing's going on. I watched a couple of their other games, and their voices did not sound as correctly to their characters. I think what they did is they just got the dev team and just went, yeah, can you guys voice the games? We want to be as cheap as possible, because that's the only reason why they would do that. And the Xbox One X, apparently it's more powerful than your PC. It's probably more powerful than my PC, because my laptop is not that powerful, but at the same time, who gives a fudge? I don't get this. Do you guys like this sort of thing? Are you going to buy the Xbox One X? Like, a £500 price point is a bit too expensive, isn't it? Like, really? What would you do? Would you guys buy it for that much? Leave your comments below, by the way. Give me some comments. Let me know what your thoughts and feelings are, because I want to respond to you. I want to respond to each and every one of you who are watching here. All three of you. They also announced a repackaging of Pokken for the Switch. Will you buy it? You know, I've been playing it on the Wii U currently with my daughter. I don't mind Pokken Tournament, but again, at the same time, it's like, why? It's one of those games that I was really like, why? Xander Scarlian said something to me recently. He said the reason why they're doing this is because it gives people an opportunity to play the game who have basically ignored the Wii U, because the Switch outsold the Wii U by spades, you know. Greg Best 19 says probably the end of the Xbox line for me, at least for a while. I agree with you. Like the Xbox One, I have an Xbox One, right? And as an Xbox One owner, I'm great about the ability that you can cross-platform your 360 games, and you can also go back to your Xbox games. I'm excited about that. But why does that make me want to buy an Xbox One X? Not really. The fact that I can play with PC users, amazing. The fact that I can also play with Switch users, amazing. But my Xbox One is fine for that. I don't need to buy the system. Truthfully, it makes the Xbox One S seem more appealing, because you've got a smaller version of the Xbox One that you can play on, that you can use your kind of tools and systems on, which is amazeballs. But it doesn't make me enticed to buy an Xbox One X. It's like a 4K machine, and for those people who love 4K, it's fine. I'll hang on to the Xbox One, and that'll probably be my primary platform. But I have an okay PC, and I'll be getting PS4 on the cheap, for sure. Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing, it's the same thing which people say to me about the PS4 Pro. Oh, look, the PS4 Pro is amazing. It does 4K. Great for you. I don't mind playing at 60 frames, 1080p. I'm fine with that. But I'm a cheap bastard, so that's the way I go with it. Comes to things like this. I like my consoles like I like my dates, cheap and cheerful. And oh, sorry, ladies. But the reason behind that is I can purchase my games, I can play them. I don't want exclusive 4K games. I don't need them. Well, hey, I don't need stuff like that. I think when it comes to your 4K kind of systems, it's a niche market at the moment. I do like the fact that Sony are concentrating a lot more on VR. Xbox are doing the same thing. Everyone's trying to get in on that VR get some of that VR cake. I did a top 5 video on this channel. If you haven't checked it out, go into my top 5 videos and check out my top 5 reasons PlayStation VR is going to fail. Currently, that machine is like, do you remember how people used to call the Switch the Zelda machine? That VR machine is the Resident Evil machine. Not many people play it. I know there's people who have purchased it, but it's a very high-end kind of upmarket type of peripheral. And a peripheral that's 350 pounds over here in the UK is so expensive. It's more expensive than buying a normal PlayStation 4. That's mind-blowing. You could buy a PS4 right now for 170, probably 150, depending on where you go. The PS4 Pro is about £200-300 on its own, and you're paying 350 quid for a peripheral that makes you see things in first person, which is great for you. That's amazing if you want to do that, and if you have the money to spend, that's great. For me, that's like 3 weeks worth of shopping. I'd rather buy the console and enjoy my games outside of that kind of enclosure, that VR thing. But eventually, I will probably jump into it at some point when it gets a bit cheaper. But it's not my thing. I do like the fact that Sony and Microsoft were very much buddy-buddy this year. I think after the last couple of E3s where Xbox were trying to put their nose up at the gaming market and go, this is an all-in-one system, look at it, it's amazing. And going from now where Phil Spencer's kind of humbled it in a sense, I love the fact we're getting to see a lot more indie games. I know there's been stuff on Twitter where we've had people bitching and moaning, like some SJWs going on about the fact that Gamergate this and Gamergate that. That doesn't even exist anymore. I don't know why people are even fucking talking about it. But it's a good thing, and I think we want to see a lot more indie devs, because indie devs are the future. If you're an independent developer and you're looking to kind of get your games out there, you're the future. Guys like me are probably a dime a dozen, especially on YouTube. But anyway, let's continue on and talk about those games. I felt like Spider-Man, the reveal of the Spider-Man game was amazing. The Ubisoft press conference and the Mario and Rabbids game, that looks fun. I think it's going to be one of those games where I'll get to play, enjoy it with my kids, and that's pretty much it for it. I don't think it's going to be something that I get to replay. The new Assassin's Creed. Does anyone care about Assassin's Creed anymore? I have to say it. I think I'm kind of curious to see what the movie is, but Assassin's Creed Origins, what was the point of it? I thought the origin of Assassin's Creed was the first game where you get to look into this dude's past life and you wanted to see, how the story progressed. Now they're doing one a year where it looks like this game is being milked so much like a rabid mutated cow that it is. I feel bad for it, but at the same time, it's like, Destiny 2 beta is hitting PC in October, and the beta begins in July. Are you guys excited? Are you excited for that? I'm excited for Destiny. Yes, it is a game that in order to experience the full game itself, you need to buy it in bits and pieces, but I'm excited. I like the game. I love the premise of the first story. I want to see how it progresses in Destiny 2. I'm a bit annoyed over the fact that you can't play using the stuff that you collected in the first game. I think it's annoying as hell. And I will say a big fuck you to Activision for that, even though I do love you guys, but fuck you. But, it is what it is. Microsoft talked about 42 new games for the Xbox One and PC. Is everybody excited about that? That's another thing that I'm kind of curious about, because they're releasing everything as cross-platform now. It's not just console and it's not just PC. It's going to be combined between the two systems. which they're totally hyping Windows 10. I don't mind this too much. I think it's a good thing, you know, when it comes to games. You've got like the Minecraft stuff, usual bits and pieces. They've kind of made Minecraft into more of like a community friendly type system now, where you get to buy Minecraft coins, which is a good thing. Um, but at the same time, it's like, you know, are you excited about getting new games on the system if you own an Xbox One? Are you excited about the new games? I'm having a look here, trying to find out my top. I'm trying to put together a quick little idea of what's coming out, because my brain has been a little fuzzy. Right. So you've got an Xbox One Enhanced program that brings enhanced 35 games on the Xbox One. So you get games that are going to be upscaled and produced into 4K. This isn't appealing to me. This does not appeal to me. Again, I like to game for the sake of gaming. I don't care about frames per second. I don't. As long as it plays well and it's not glitchy as fuck, I have no issue. I don't understand what people are issue with this. Backwards compatibility, as we talked about, that we're getting original Xbox games like from the previous era, including 360 games. I'm happy about this. And 3 million people play Battleground, and it's coming to the Xbox One. I have no idea what the hell this game is. I don't care. Minecraft gets its 4K upgrade and unifies all versions of the game, right? The Better Together update delivers a community marketplace, massive servers, cross-platform for all console versions of the game, apart from the Sony version, which annoys me. I think Sony need to get off the freaking pot, you know. I don't get why they're not allowing this to happen on their system. Let Minecraft players play with all Minecraft players. I love this because I own probably 20 different versions of the game. My kids own 20 different versions of the game. They've got a Wii U version. They're going to have the Switch version coming. We've got PC version. Got an Xbox One version, which means we get to have a bit more of a community, which if I wanted to play, I can play on my PC while the kids play on the Xbox One or the Wii U versions of the game. Sea of Thieves has lost treasure, massive storms and trading. This kind of seems rather weird. It's a Windows 10 exclusive. It's a wide ranging of gameplay, video showing a variety of elements, including treasure hunt, ship tossing, storms, broadsides. It's basically like a pirate game. So if you like pirate games, it's all for you. Crackdown 3, the game that some people wanted, is coming out. Terry Crews kicked off a new trailer of the upcoming sequel. I love Terry Crews. If you don't know who Terry Crews is, you need to Google him. Go on YouTube, find the best of Terry Crews. He is hilarious. Metro Exodus returns to players in a post-apocalyptic world in 2018. A lot of people did like the Metro games. The one thing that people didn't like was the fact that the game was packaged. The hard mode was a DLC bonus content. Let's hope 4A Games actually do something about this and put something out and make sure that you get the complete experience and the DLC is just bonus content. I have issues with developers who do that. I understand you want to sell extras for a game, but when you're selling DLC, DLC means downloadable content. It doesn't mean let's give you the game in pieces, because it's a big pet peeve of mine, and I will not buy your game if you adhere to this practice. It's annoying, and I want to unlock my hard mode. I don't want to buy it. Anyway, Assassin's Creed Origins in ancient Egypt. As someone who is a descendant of Egyptians, I'm basically Persian, part Persian, English, Turkish hybrid. So, you know, you get the best of both worlds, including the big testicles. But the thing that I have an issue with Assassin's Creed Origins, I'm like, the origin story was already told, but they're going to do it anyway, because let's milk that cow. Come on. Get the extra little teats. Now, Shadow of War, the demo's coming out on that. I'm already downloading the demo of Marvel vs. Capcom, so if you haven't yet, go to the PlayStation Store. You can download it now. It's totally free, and you get to experience the game like no one else has, you know. And I want to hear your thoughts on that. So, you know, if you go over to my Facebook page, facebook.com/Michael Burhan Actor, leave some comments there. Let me know exactly what you feel on my main Facebook page. If you're a friend of mine on there and you come via that to this stream. Shadow of War is going to have its own demo from WB Games. I wonder if it's going to have the same issues like Shadow of Mordor, where people like myself, if we want to review it, we'll have to sign an embargo, meaning that we have to say nothing but good things about the game. Let's hope WB Games have learned their lesson on this one. So let's continue. Forza. It's so popular that Porsche decided to debut a new car E3. I'm not a fan of driving sims. I think the only driving game that I like is like Mario Kart. That's it. If you're a big fan of this and you love it, good for you. Love you too. And let's go on to Sony's. Let's go for the best bit of Sony's. Oh, actually, let's do Bethesda first. Let's do Bethesda. Because there's a new Wolfenstein game. I don't know if people love Wolfenstein. I didn't think people loved Wolfenstein as much as I thought they did. Bethesda, they were the latest publisher at State of E3 on Sunday. That was the Sunday conference. They did The Evil Within 2, which the trailer was like... It was Kojima levels of insane, man. If you haven't watched this trailer, you like literally, once the stream's finished, of course, once you stop looking at my pretty face, make sure you check this trailer out for The Evil Within 2. I was psyched, so psyched for it. You got Doom VR. I like the idea of Doom VR. I think Doom was okay. If you haven't seen my review, check out the Rather British review on this channel, and I did a review of Doom. It was okay. It was a bit of a cluster. Like, it was enjoyable to an extent. I felt it kind of drew itself out a little bit more, you know, and in terms of gaming, it wasn't like my cup of tea. It never kept me hooked. Maybe the VR version of this may look a lot better because you get to do it and experience it in the first person. There you go. But at the same level, I'm not a fan. So, you know, depends. If you're a VR junkie and you love VR, then you probably like it. Wolfenstein New Colossus. Now, this was the main focus of the Bethesda kind of thing, and it's, again, you may enjoy this. I thought the Wolfenstein games are pretty good. They were enjoyable to an extent, but at the same time, it's not my thing. They've got the Creation Club for Fallout Skyrim. You have it's basically like mods and bits and pieces for the games, which is a good thing. Some mods are paid, some mods are free if you like your free games. We've got the Fallout 4 VR, that as well is a thing. And you got Elder Scrolls Legends Heroes of Skyrim. There's a new trailer for that. Again, I'm kind of like, okay, I enjoy the Elder Scrolls thing. Skyrim for the Switch, which, what can I say? It doesn't look as crisp as the PlayStation version of the game. If you've got it on the PS4 and it's a HD remaster on that, that will be great for you. For me, I'm not really bothered by that. Dishonored, Death of the Outsider is kind of a standalone DLC for the new Dishonored 2. I'm looking forward to that. I'm a great fan of the Dishonored series. I feel the games are very underrated in terms of the way that they're played. It's much better than games that it's based off of, like Thief. And it's very, very enjoyable. So if you are a fan of Dishonored, then you're going to love this. You got Quake Champions getting like some updates on that. I just like the Evil Within trailer. I was like, wow. So you've got that going on, and you have a whole scope of games. Now, what do you think of the Bethesda lineup? Do you think it was great? Do you think it was okay? I think the main sell for me is Evil Within 2, just because I'm an RE fan, and the Evil Within is supposed to be what Resident Evil 5 was supposed to be after RE4. But hey, so let's have a look at the next one. So we've got as you guys said, like, you know, Skyrim for the Switch. That's fine. Sony press conference. I just like to have a list down. Sony press conference E3 2017. Okay, so again, we talked about the Spider-Man game and how amazing that's going to be. I'm a big fan of it, so I'm definitely, that's going to be kind of a day one pickup for me, in my opinion. Call of Duty World War II. Are you a fan of the Call of Duty games? I know a lot of people love them. I'm not a fan of. I got kind of tired after Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, But if you are a fan, do you think World War II is going to kind of provide you with everything that you want in terms of a game, a Call of Duty game? Does it bring Call of Duty back to its original kind of standing to gamers? I know a lot of people kind of use these games for esports. I'm just like, eh. Days Gone, the next gen Sony bend. It's like an Uncharted Golden Abyss type of game. Open world action set in the post-apocalyptic world, and again, the guy looks like Joel from Last of Us. Um, it looks nice. It's by Bend Games, I believe, the indie developer. It looks stunning. It looks like fun, but then again, I'm not sure. Destiny 2, they took a bigger look at that and the gameplay. Detroit Become Human. Quantric Dream and famous developer David Cage return with Detroit Become Human. There's a PlayStation 4 exclusive featuring robots who rise up against humans. Do you like robots who rise up against humans? Do you wish that your PlayStation would choke you at night and call you daddy? For me, I don't know. It's like I'm kind of Quantric Dream are one of those game developers where they specialize mostly in quick time events games. Like sometimes they do a miss like Beyond Two Souls. Sometimes they do a hit like Heavy Rain. So it's kind of apples and oranges. This one may be great or it may be just a pile of garbage like usual. God of War. Now, don't get me wrong. I thought the God of War games kind of finished, but apparently this is happening again. It's the latest entry into long-running action game developed by Sony Santa Monica. While the game shares the same name as the first entry in the series, it's actually meant to be a soft reboot with the story protagonist Kratos. Kratos, as I said, in the final iteration, the game was supposed to be the final iteration. He died, but yet he's back again. So this is going to be kind of weird to see how this goes. He's got a son this time in this game. He has an awesome beard, not as awesome as mine, but he does have an awesome beard. So, what do you think of it? Do you like the game? Do you want to know everything about it? What's your opinion? So they did also an update or Horizon Zero Dawn Frozen Wilds. It's a next gen game from Killzone developer Guerrilla Games, and it basically expands the year with a story expansion called the Frozen Wilds. With no surprise that more content is coming, as Horizon is a big hit critically and commercially. Sold over 3.4 million copies. Damn, 3.4 million. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, man. So I can see why they're keeping the game alive, because it's got such a big community. Are you excited? Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. This, for me, made the Sony conference, because like the Sony conference wasn't about tech this year. It was more about games, which is a great thing. As someone who loves the PlayStation, I want to know about what I'm getting for my console. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite opts out the over-the-top 3-on-3 fighting from its predecessor. It goes back to its roots with 2-on-2 fights, and also introduces the Infinity Stones and new mechanics that provides with unique abilities in battle. I want to, as I said, if you haven't downloaded this yet, go to your PlayStation Store, click on E3. They have the demo there, absolutely free, so you can check it out. I don't know if it's a timed demo. I don't know if the demo can be played over and over again, but it's there for you. If you want to play it, play this game. And what heroes do you want to see in Marvel vs. Capcom? Do you guys have any ideas? Leave a comment below and let me know. So, Monster Hunter World. So, from what I can understand, we've got 2 iterations of Monster Hunter. One that's coming out on the Switch, which is the rehash of the 3DS version. Then you've got Monster Hunter World, which is going to come out on everything else. So that's going to be out on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, which I'm looking forward to. It's basically returns the franchise back to other console platforms and away from just Nintendo, because Nintendo kind of had this agreement with Capcom where they would only get the Monster Hunter games, and I believe that was for 3 iterations of the game, so it's no longer a Nintendo exclusive, but I'm happy for that. Shadow of the Colossus. This game, for me, was fantastic. Has a freaking insane ending and is heartbreaking to watch. If you are a fan, the 3D upgrade looks like that's what it is. They haven't touched any of the gameplay and the mechanics. They've just worked on upgrading the game to make it look a lot more smoother and a lot more textured for HD televisions. I don't know if they've got a 4K upgrade coming. It's going to be released in 2018, so if you're looking forward to that, good for you. So as we talked about Spider-Man, he's got a new costume. There's a lot more going on. Again, it looks like it's centered around the new Spider-Man mythos in the Marvel Universe that's currently going on, so I'm looking forward to that. Elder Scrolls Skyrim VR. What else can I say? It's already been said from the Bethesda thing. It's nice to have a first-person view, but I'm not sure if VR is going to give it an extra layer. Uncharted Lost Legacy is a standalone chapter in an Uncharted series where you play a fan-favourite character, Chloe Frazier, as she embarks on a mystical treasure known as the Tusk for Ganesha. Are you excited? Are you an Uncharted fan? If you are Uncharted fans, great for you. I don't know why. I've never managed to kind of pick up the series and go, it's amazing. But I've heard good things. You know what I probably need to do? I probably need to get the collection first, and then go into the final chapter of the Uncharted series, and then go from there. I don't know if they're going to be actually doing it with a new protagonist, or if Nathan Drake will probably return at some point, or maybe even be a secondary character. Who knows? PSVR games. You know how I feel about the PlayStation VR. It's a gimmick, plain and simple. And I'm sorry for those people who have one and who think it has potential. It's a gimmick. The only thing that lets me really cream my shorts in playing the PSVR is Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4. What did I say? Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 7. There you go. There. So yeah, I want to hear more about the DLC coming from that, not a hero. I want to hear about that. I don't want to hear about this. They had some RGP, Undertale. I am so glad that Undertale is coming on the PlayStation 4. My hands are shaking like this. Because it's amazing. Undertale, if you haven't played it on Steam, you could probably get it for cheap on Steam sales. It's just so mind-blowing. It reminds you of those old school RPGs like Mother, and it just makes you really kind of look into the story, look at the way that you portray the character, and it makes you crap your pants for how evil someone could be if you go down that path. You've got a good path and an evil path. But it's great. Very old school, and it has that 16-bit graphics. So I think you'll enjoy that. So that's the Sony conference done. Let's talk about Devolve Digital, I think. Devolve Digital would be the next one. Devolve Digital E3. See, what was your E3 experience, by the way? Did you guys like how the conference went? Do you feel like there should have been a lot more to it? Devolve Digital, it was apparently the best part of E3. A lot of people, such as IGN, Polygon, everyone was talking about it. So, because they showed a lot more core titles and a lot more. They weren't showing rehashes like Sony and Microsoft and even Nintendo were doing. You got to see a lot more in terms of characters, designs, and games. And you also got to see Severed Limbs, which, that was fun. So, yeah, they talked about their lineup and also the games that they've got going from there, which they were able to stream live. I'm just trying to have a look at their catalog of games that were going through. Even though apparently the presentation was amazing, I did not see it myself, which is kind of annoying because I kind of stuck to the big three. I stuck to Microsoft's, I stuck to Sony's. And I stuck to Nintendo's because I wanted to see exactly what I was going to get from my three main systems. But I didn't like the developer conference. I don't like Ubisoft as a developer, and I know you really shouldn't be saying that. But as a developer, I felt that they've let me down rather hastily. I do hope that they can pick themselves back up and show me and everybody else what they can do. But as a developer, I just felt that they didn't really do much. Bethesda were focusing more on VR than anything else. And in terms of their kind of ideologies and where they go, it didn't really do much else. Now, Devolver, in their own right, they had kind of more of an entertaining variation of a press conference. They were looking at basically releasing their games, and that's another thing. We've got a lot of games coming this year, so we've got a lot more games that that basically we get to look forward to. But at the same time, we want to know exactly where it goes from there. So let's see if we can find it. I don't want no live streams, man. I don't want to. I want a list, man. Okay, so we got Ruiner. So that comes to Xbox One, PS4, and PC. It's a cyberpunk style isometric third-person shooter. You'll dash from point to point and blowing up enemies with high-tech weaponry. It looks kind of nice, looks kind of smooth for all you people that are looking for these types of games. Serious Sam. I haven't heard of Serious Sam in ages, but he's got the Bogus Detour. Here's the Twin Stick Adventure enters online co-op campaign and survival mode. It also includes to encourage user-generated content, which is a great thing. I find that a lot of games have a nice little lifespan from user-generated content. So like the Bethesda games, the forum games, the games that have co-op and community out there that are looking to kind of make mods and maps for them. That's brilliant. Suda51's back. I love Suda. Suda is the man. I'm looking forward to the newest iteration of No More Heroes, even though they didn't talk about it at this year's E3. I'm still looking forward to it, especially for the Switch. Sort of Ditto. It falls under their production, but also one of the indie games showed earlier. There was a trailer for that as well. Absolver as well on that one as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it. What was your guys' opinions of the E3 conference? Do you feel that it's doing well? I know WB Games have got to show off a few games coming out. Leave your comments below. Let me know exactly what your thoughts were, what you're looking forward to, and what you feel was the best kind of show. A lot of people are saying Nintendo kind of broke the mold because they were talking a lot more about their games. Because this year they had a hell of a lot more to show, whereas with the Wii U previously, they didn't show anything. So any year when Nintendo shows off a ton of games is a better year than what the Wii U stuff is. I'm still rather very annoyed when it comes to the rehashes, the upscaled Switch versions of games. But at the same time, like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, it can be a good thing because you get to see a lot more characters and a lot more games and a lot more high quality things out there. Sony, again, as I said, they concentrated mostly on their VR side of things and talked about a couple of indie games that they're coming out and also their own stuff, including their lead game was the Insomniac Games Spider-Man game. And yeah, I'm extremely happy by that, but at the same time, it's just like, didn't really have much. Xbox One X, Project Scorpio, aka the high-end Xbox system, looks great. But yeah, I felt like E3 was just kind of underwhelming. I didn't really have much to look at. With the WB games, they're looking at most of their Lego games and stuff like that. They've got nothing really else going on, and it's a shame because for me as a gamer, I think there's a lot of high quality titles that are going to be released that are going to look amazing. But at the same time, there's not really much else going on. I know we've got Square. I don't know if Square Enix is going to be doing an E3 stream. We shall see. But that's pretty much it. Now, if you guys aren't going to comment, then what we're going to do is I'm going to close the stream off in a little bit. I want to give a big special shout out to Xander Scullion. I'm going to, like me and him were talking about E3, Tag Callahan, Power Metal Gamer, Excess Gaming Podcast. Go over to those kind of YouTube channels, talk to those guys as well about their thoughts. I'm hugely surprised about how well Nintendo did this year. But again, I think the biggest takeaway for me was Spider-Man and Marvel vs. Capcom. And also the Evil Within 2, of course, from Bethesda. Somewhat comforting that you feel the same way about E3. Was a bit concerned I probably was just miserable, not with any more. I don't think you were miserable. I just think it was just the way it was. It was kind of underwhelming, but it was always going to be. Because Microsoft were the only ones who were going to reveal tech, And I'm a big tech head myself, but at the same time, I'm not going to spend an arm and a leg for a game console that, one, is not needed, and two, is just a 4K upgrade to the initial console that you already have. I am excited for the cross-platforming stuff that they've got planned. I like the fact that they're going to unify every version of Minecraft because it makes things a lot more easier for myself and my kids to play, especially, say, if I have one on the Minecraft and the Xbox 360 and they have the Xbox One, and I can sit there and play with them and do a cross-platform play. Because I'm a big kind of instigator when it comes to the cross-platform thing. I think it should. I'm pro cross-platform. Alex O, you have epic facial hair. Thank you, Alex. Thank you very much. I grow it myself. It's really easy. That's the reason why I have pretty much no hair on the top there, because it grows all out there and probably on my back as well. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the cross-platform thing. I think everyone should do it. I think Sony, Microsoft, whoever you choose to be with, you still be allowed to game with your friends depending on what the game is. If it's first-party titles, then fair enough. You buy the console for the first-party stuff. But when it comes to third-party titles, it should be allowed. Again, I can't wait for the day where I can play GTA 6 with every one of my Xbox friends on my PlayStation 4, and I don't get hindered by what console that I play it on, because I don't want to buy a game twice just so I can play with my Xbox friends and my PlayStation friends. It doesn't make sense to me. And I think Sony needs to kind of crap or get off the pot when it comes to that kind of thing. But that's just me. I think, as for the VR thing, I think it's just a gimmick. I'm not a fan of the whole VR craze. I still think there's a huge way for everybody to go as a gamer and as like someone who enjoys his gaming tastes. I think the VR thing is kind of just what it is. It's a trend that eventually it's going to die out unless they make it a hell of a lot cheaper. If they make it a lot more affordable, I think people will jump on it. If they basically make it so that this thing is not as affordable as it should be, then it's just not going to work. VR is going to be big in porn. You know what, Moon Knight? I agree with you on this one. I think VR will do amazing for pornos. But again, we've got to see how well they maintain that, because pornos for HD DVD was going to be a big thing. Now everyone streams. So don't cross the streams, fellas. But at the same time, haha. But at the same time, it's just one of those things where if I've got my PlayStation 4, I'm not purchasing a PlayStation VR because it's twice the amount that what the console's worth currently. Again, as I basically said to Gearbest here, good point. As I said to Gearbest here, the whole thing that basically I have an issue with right now is the fact that you have this £350 peripheral and £170 console. Like the VR system, the PS4 Pro that supports the VR system is like £260. 350 quid for a headset that you can wear and experience games and shoot monsters and shit yourself in front of your children. And again, I'm not going to hate on anyone who purchased this thing, who purchased VR, but it's not my thing. And I think where Sony's giving a big kick in the arse to VR, I still think they've got a long way to go to convince me and anybody else to drop their cash and say, right, I need to, we need this for you. If they make it a lot more cheaper, if they say, if you do like 200 quid per a VR head unit, plus you add like a free game with it, then that maybe can convince me. But at the moment, it's basically similar to the PS Vita. It's a great, like the PS Vita was a great concept, great thing that you could play and you could basically use as your peripheral system for the PlayStation, as an extra little gamepad or as a remote play system. But the problem is they never marketed it as such. If you basically threw a Vita with every single PlayStation unit, I guarantee you people would have bought those things in spades. But at the same time, it was a little system that nobody wanted, no one cared for, and Sony didn't promote or support. So there wasn't this big, there was kind of like a fan backlash instead of fan support that should have happened. But there you go. And again, I'm not kind of the support network on that. It's the same with the Xbox One X. Again, it's going to have the Oculus Rift support there. You're going to have the backwards compatibility. True, I won't buy VR because Sony wasn't support it like the Vita. And that's agreed, Moon Knight 1985. They don't support it like the Vita. Shame, the Vita looks very well put together. Well, I have one. I do have one, and it's a very well put together system. And it is. It's a beautiful system. But at the moment, the only people who are supporting the Vita are indie devs. I felt like, the idea that Sony had, where they were going to basically purchase a PS4 game, and then you had a variation of the game that was Vita, variation. Can you get CFW? And I don't know what CFW stands for. You need to give it to me in English. Looks over shoulder. Let me show you. I'll show you my Vita actually. I do have one. Hello, mister. I have a Vita. Sorry, common firmware. Ah, yes, you can. But yeah, this is my Vita. I purchased this from Gashead Steve, aka Stephen Horton, on YouTube. I got this. I paid 70 quid for it, which was pretty good. I got like a few games for it, but again, it's not the best in terms of support, and Sony never supported it, and that's the problem when it comes to any kind of proof of concept that Sony has. They have to support it, and if they don't support it, there is no way in hell that they are actually going to have a system in place that people are going to want to play. And that's the big thing. And especially now you can actually have support from tablets. Like, I can use this now to do remote play on my PlayStation 4. I can use my mobile phone, which is what I'm streaming with at the moment, as like PlayStation 4 support. So you've got all these unique little stuff that does that the Vita would have been the best thing to use on, and there's no support. It's the same thing. I think eventually the PlayStation VR is going to die, and then they're just going to allow Oculus Rift and stuff like that to support it. Remember the PS Move never supported it? Yeah, and that was a kind of a Nintendo Wii clone, wasn't it? That little device was a system that they basically had in play, and they had some good games. You had No More Heroes Paradise, you had the House of the Dead game, but again, yeah, you're right, they never supported it. It was just one of those things that was out there. They talked about doing a big push for it for the PlayStation 4, nothing. And that's the problem. People want, in order to make these gears look enticing, you're going to have to get people to used to using them, which means you're going to have a lot more games to support it, and you're going to have to market push these kind of features in order to get it out there. And again, why are you going to buy this if you have this doing the exact same thing, and this only has a very few games? Now, the cross-platform thing, I liked that idea, because I could play Day of the Tentacle on this as well as my PlayStation 4, and I could use the same save on both platforms. Minecraft was the same thing, but again, they didn't support that, and then eventually this just died a painful death. I still love it though. I still love it. You're still my baby. But yeah, so we've got that. It's like Nintendo and the Amiibo thing. Like these, the reason why these are hot sellers because they're collectibles and Nintendo can use them for DLC purposes, which I like this. I like that as a great idea, and it works well for Nintendo. The VR situation, it's basically the point where we had some shoddy Arkham game, we had Star Trek Bridge, cross-buy. That's a great idea. And I was actually saying this about the Pokemon Sun and Moon situation. They should have released the newest versions of those games on the Switch and just did a DLC patch for the 3DS. But who am I? I'm just some dude who plays Nintendo's games, and who has every single Nintendo console known to man. But, that's me. And I have an epic beard, but hey. So we've got that. We've got everything like that going on, and when it comes to the VR situation, it kind of screws everything up and leaves gamers like myself and yourselves in situations where we end up with this bit of tech that we don't use, that we don't want, that doesn't get supported, and that we're clamoring to have games for. Like, I would love a PSVR version of Minecraft, because I will say this, as someone who loves to play that game, it's fun to play, and it would be nice to have something like that going through, but having like a cheaper version, like for 200 or 150 for a VR headset, yeah, man, I'll buy that. I'll buy that the next day, and add the VR, like the PlayStation Move support in there as well, just to add that extra little feature. My kids would love that, and I think that's what they need to do as well. Just put down the price point, market the thing better, and actually put some nice little built-in titles and give a cross-platform thing so that people who own a PlayStation and the VR system have that extra support, instead of re-releasing games that you've already released for a VR special edition version because money. It leaves fans alienated, it leaves people isolated, and it leaves people in a situation where they don't have much of what they want. And as a game company, it makes you fail at doing your job. But yeah, Nintendo, I was so surprised with the Switch support, with the games they've got coming out. A lot of people don't want ARMS and Splatoon 2. I'm a big fan of Splatoon 2. I played it at the MCM London Comic Con with my daughter. That was amazing. It was really good, very fun to play. One thing I hated was like the joy pad thing had this kind of remote sensor on it, the Pro Controller, and it was annoying. They have the option to turn that off. I think I'm going to do that. Mario Odyssey looks amazing. The games that they have coming out on the system look great. One complaint I have with Nintendo is the rehashes and the 2D games like Super Street Fighter Ultra Granddad Edition. I am not bothered with that. Everyone's like, but it has online play and it has this. Give me Street Fighter 5. Release Street Fighter freaking 5 or Street Fighter 6. Nintendo listens to fans when it came to the Metroid. They did, and I'm glad they did that. And also when it came to Pokemon, because I think because of the fan backlash from the Sun and Moon 3DS rehashes, they decided, okay, we've got to we got to do something, and we got to do something now in terms of giving people a Switch version of Pokemon. Pokken DX, I'm not really bothered by that. And I know people are just like, well, you know, if you've got it on the Wii U, then you could probably buy it on there because they've got some extra little upgrades and updates. I'm probably not going to buy it because Pokken on the Wii U was expensive. I remember people selling it for like 40 to 60 quid for Pokken, and it just, the gameplay is rather limited on that game. Like, you can only go so far to the point where it just gets tedious. But that's the same with any fighting game, unless it has a story in it, you know, or it has some extra little features and bonuses and stuff like that. So we'll see where we go from there. What were the games that you wanted to see that didn't happen at E3? What was the stuff that you wanted to see that never occurred? Leave a comment for me, guys, and I'll read it out live on air for you while we're finalizing this live stream. And by the way, thank you for everybody who's contributed. I want to say a great big thank you to everyone, because without you, I'll just be randomly talking like an idiot in front of the camera for the last hour. I was surprised by DBZ and how good it looked. DBZ is a great game, but I wonder why they've got a new like DBZ fighting game when you already have Dragon Ball Universe. That's a weird one for me. But again, I'm probably just nitpicky in terms of that. Namco Bandai, as I said, they did a good job. They released stuff and went, yeah, this is what we've got. This is what we're presenting to you. It's stuff we already have. Same thing with Sega. Sonic, I'm probably the only person who's intrigued by Sonic Forces. Even though it's going to be a complete letdown, I'm so intrigued by it. I'm more enticed by Sonic Mania, though. Just because I really wanted a new Sonic game that wasn't just super 3D, extra, you get to do all this and this. And when did Shadow become a bad guy again? People love 2D fighting games. They do, yeah. Sonic Mania is good, yeah. But Sonic Forces, the one where you get to build your own Sonic character, Gearbest. Yeah, that's what I was like. It has potential, but again, I think it was something that should be released on the Switch, because then you can just get amiibo support. And like Skylanders has with those little crystals things, that'd be cool to have like a little empty amiibo where you get to download your created character into, and then you could just like custom paint it and stuff. That would be kind of nice. Or like, yeah, Lego Dimensions. But it's one of those things where I don't think Sega have kind of thought about it. I think it's going to be just another generic Sony Sonic 3D fighting game in a sense, which is just like, yeah, it's going to be great for playing. I'll probably buy it for my son when it goes cheap, but I'm not looking forward to it. So yeah, we've got a good load of games that are hyped up to go through. This year was zombie year. Like, everybody was releasing some sort of zombie game. You know, like, you've got some game where the apocalypse has happened, kind of Last of Us-y. So I'm looking forward to that. We've got also they did clarify a little bit more about the Crash HD collection, which I'm buying on day one digitally. But we go from there. Now, what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to end the stream in the next couple of minutes because I'm dying for a drink because the flu has basically killed me. I will be releasing my next video tomorrow, which will be a top 5. So I'm going to be releasing top 5 videos over the next couple of days, and then I'm going to do a rather British review where I'm going to be reviewing a game. I've got loads of plans coming up for the channel. The next live stream is going to be next week. So if you haven't liked, commented, and subscribed yet, please do. I want to talk to you lovely people. Make sure you turn up for the live stream next week. I'll post it on my Facebook page. I'm going to post it on here. I'll post it everywhere, just to let you guys know what I'm going to be up to. Thank you again for your company. Thank you. And this has been Michael Burhan saying for Nerdgenious.com, and also for all you lovely people out there, that I've got gameplay. Have you? See you soon, folks.